gosh, I met him. He was in a band. See, Reading had all these bands, and I always knew these people that played in these bands. I never played in bands, but I knew people who played. Hi, Tuck. I said, Mom, why'd you cover my eyes, Mom? Because you don't like the lights, buddy. I'm going to turn off that big bright light. Turn this guy off. There you go, bud. He was asleep and now he's awake, so he put his head down anyway. I'm not really in the mood for all that. It's just a little... Now I look like Marge Headroom. It was an old TV show, Max Headroom. He was just a face. He was just automated. That's the cat opening the cupboards. He opens drawers too. He's a trip, man. I got a cool cat. It's just what he does. That's Stan Lee. Yep, that's him. He just opens cupboards randomly. He always has ever since I've had him. Drawers and stuff. Maybe he's letting the spirits out. Who knows? Hi, welcome to my tube. My name's Marge. I'm a Hilk empath. I just like having these little talks on the way I feel about things. I got the new ones on today. I decided I'll wear the new ones around the house when I'm doing chores and listening to stuff, talks and stuff throughout the day. And then the small ones, I'm gonna try and fix them. And then just wear those when I go into town, because they're tiny, they're about freaking, they're way smaller than these. So high class problems, I tell you. It's not like almost cutting off my own leg with my own snowplow, my own, freaking cities can't. I lived in Omaha. They couldn't get freaking the mayor to get the cities to plow some of these neighborhoods for sometimes like 5 days. It was ridiculous. It was absurd how much ice and stuff people had to contend with. You think that's what, they tax you for everything. And with all your, with the houses you own and everything is just taxes, taxes, taxes. So you think that, I would think that, there's ample enough to make sure that the streets are clear, because it's, it's a matter of safety. But the mayor, she never freaking put them out when you think that she should. And when it hardly would do nothing, then she'd send them out to spray. It was just always backwards. It never made any sense. Still don't. I swear that's what politics are in place. They're just in place to create dissidents, to just do things that don't make sense. Ooh, it's January 7 and it's 7:07. It's 7707. Interesting. Anyway, we just had kind of a chill day. It was somewhat melancholic a little bit, a little nostalgic. I grew up in Northern California in a town called Redding. If you live there, you get to drop the G. And it's Redding, California. I've referred to it as the armpit of California for a number of years. Although when I grew up there in the 80s, I was young. It was a much, much different place. That's the thing about places, is they're just different. Once you visit a place and you leave, as soon as you leave, that town is not the same town that you visited. It's a trip. It's something happens, whether, you lose population, babies are born, buildings are torn down, buildings are built, a curb is made, the earth is constantly evolving. And how does the earth even, how is it even evolved to the point that where we are now? Because of people's creativity. Unfortunately, creativity has really been hijacked. I used to have all kinds of good ideas. I remember junior high at CVI, Mrs. Chase was my science teacher. She must have been 148. She was very old. And she was mean. She's so mean. All the teachers were mean to me. Anyway, my head's getting hot. Take off my hat here. This is one of my favorites because it has my logo on it. Anyway, this is back when the big panic, the big eco panic, everyone was freaked out about the ozone layer. That's what would keep me up at night. The ozone layer, oh my God, that we're going to get sucked out into space because the ozone layer's thinning. Holy cow, right? So in science for a project, we had to come up with something that was eco-friendly. And I came up with deodorant in a pump without aerosol. That was my contribution. I think I got like a C on that thing. And then, lo and behold, a couple years later, what do we have on the market? How often does that happen? Is that what universities are about? So people have their academic freedom only for it to be hijacked by corporate America? Because as soon as you sign that contract to go work for that big company that's going to fund all your ideas are no longer yours. Isn't that kind of weird? I always thought that was kind of weird. I've always been a very creative person. I've needed and see, creativity, I look at it as an outlet for your life force energy. Some people have more energy than other people. I have a lot of energy. So I have a lot of ways. I got a lot of hobbies, I spend a lot of time cooking for Mom, cleaning, making sure everything's clean, that the dog, there's not too much dog hair, stuff like that. So between that and just trying to, find a balance of what doing, what I want to and what I am able to do. Yeah, I sleep pretty good at night when I can. Sometimes, like, cause this moon, I got Cancer in my first and second house, and Capricorn in my sixth and seventh, and so I just have been feeling very, withdrawn. All about being with in the homestead, and thinking about my future. And I'm really thinking about working on, I'd like people to tell me what they thought, but I don't know if anybody's around. If anybody, if they hear this, put what you think down there someplace, please comment, is that I'm going to see what I need to do to get licensed with the state to make my cookies, my good karma cookies, and then sell them to the dispensaries. And then that way. And then, so I was thinking snack nap, because my photography card, my business card, it's snap knacks. And so I was thinking snack knacks to go in line with that, and then put as like a business logo, like the good karma cookie, and spell it like cookie, like COOKI, like my friend Cookie that died some years ago. So it's kind of like a little memorandum to her, little nod to Cookie. Yeah, and because I used to buy these edible cookies, chocolate chip cookies, and mine are better when I lived in Oregon, and I spent $10 on those things, and mine are better, and I would still sell mine for $10. I'd sell, the dispensaries would sell them for whatever they wanted, but I would sell them for $10, and I hope they keep them pretty reasonable. Anyway, they're I'm like the Ben and Jerry's. I like to break up different kinds of candies, like candy bars and stuff like that, and put those in there, and different combinations. Most of them turn out. Soon I'm gonna make lemon bars. See, and I use the Paula Deen recipe, and then to turn it up a notch, to make it a little bit better, I add white chocolate chips. So I can use the can of butter in the shortbread crust, and it makes people, if anything, it makes you giggle for a while, and then you go to sleep and you get a really good night's sleep. And a lot of people I used to take medications because I couldn't fall asleep, and that changed me. The pills that they gave me in the VA changed my perception about things. Anyway, I've changed it back. It altered things for me, and I did that. It's done that for a lot of other people too. I got out of that alteration, fortunately. So, where I live, I don't know, I think there's a lot of creative people where I live. They just want people to pay so much for their creativity. It just makes me laugh. And I'm one of those people. I'm one of those pick your price people. Because people, I don't really care so much about money. I'm more about learning about how people are. And I can learn a lot about people by what they give me, what they think I do for them is worth. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. So my buddy, I gotta write him back. Actually, I woke up the other morning. I showed a picture of it on here, and I posted on Facebook, and I tagged him. He was in a band in like 2000, in the late 1990s, because this was before I went into the Air Force. I'd go watch him play in his band called Hipster Doofi. Wait, what's it? Hipster Doofi. Now I'm thinking about it, so I'm not gonna be able to. Hipster Doofi. Oh man, the thing of it is on one of. Whoa. There it is. On one of these, it's right here. Hipster Doofi. I was saying it right. I even have the sticker, the band sticker from it, right? So he has this CD, or I have this CD of his that he made when he was in that band. And he messaged me the other morning saying that was the last CD on Earth, and that he asked that if I would let him have it, right? So of course I'm gonna let the guy have it. Of course, I mean it's his CD. I bought it. It's like, I don't know, however much it was, like $10. Got to support your friends, right? I supported so many of friends, and probably zero have ever shared my videos. People that I know. It's a trip. It's weird. My astrology, my placements, the lessons that I am to learn in this life. It's bizarre. So, I gotta message him back and let him know that he can have that. I don't know what I did with it. I cleared things off and I moved stuff around. So that's the only trouble, is I don't know exactly where it's at. I got a general idea. I'm not exactly 100% sure. So I'll look for it. As soon as I find it, I'll have him give me his address, and then I'll send it to him, and then he can send me whatever it's worth to him, because he's like, I'll pay whatever you want, right? No, I'm not going to name a price. I'll let him name a price, what it's worth. The last CD from a band that he was in freaking 24, 23 years ago. Now he's, and he was a little bit older than me. He's always such a cool guy. He was an older guy, a little bit old, but he always looked really young. And, I mean, shoot. Freaking the whole time I knew him, he worked at Safeway. I mean, he worked at this grocery store. He worked there like 27 years. He finally retired. I don't know what he's doing anymore, but it's like he got married. He's doing dad stuff now. He's like an old. It's just, I don't know. It's worked out for him. Life's worked out for him. He was always a real mellow guy. He always worked overnights. I remember one time I was so wasted. I was so drunk. I remember seeing him, and I went walking around the corner, and like, because, like, you know, you get the walking, I don't know, it's like my hips feel like they're up here when I'm walking around drunk, and I'm staggering around, and freaking gravity is not my friend. I defy gravity. And he was in, I would like walk through the produce department, and there's this liquor display, and I hit this liquor display, and it was like full of it, just bottles of booze, and the whole thing knocked over, and it just went ching, and I was just like, oh shit. I'm just like, I gotta go. I gotta get out of this store, man. I just bumped into it. I didn't even like fall into it, or I just like kind of hit it, and the whole thing. I've been prone to accidents my whole life. I've always been, just the weirdest stuff happens to me. Just like stuff I can't even believe. That's one of the reasons why I document my life. So I left Redding the first time in 1996 when my grandfather died. I was summoned to move to Sacramento and get a job and find a place to live, and then that's where I lived. But we moved up there, so 16 years we lived there, huh, Ma? We almost lived, that's the longest place we ever lived, because Omaha came in second, because I lived there 15 years in Omaha. Cost of living's cheap. It's the only thing going for it. Anyway, so where was I? I went to high school there. I went to a lot of different schools there. It was a weird school system. I never heard of another place because it seemed like, I mean, there are a lot of places, like, I don't know, it's the elementary school, and then the junior high, and then the high school. And then where I went, it was like kindergarten through third, and then there was another school for fourth, fifth, and sixth, and then there was another school for seventh and eighth, and then a lone school for just ninth for all the high schools in the area, for the other three high schools in the area, not including Anderson, just Enterprise, Shasta, and Central Valley. Later, they built other schools, but that was after I graduated. And then 10, 11, 12 high school. I mean, it was just a weird setup. And my whole life, I never went to school with my brother. Isn't that weird, Ma? Like, we never went to the same school. And even in high school, because I was at Nova, and he graduated, like, my freshman year, he graduated in 89. And so and it was always, I don't think he liked it very much, because people always knew who he was. He was Margie's brother, and I don't think he liked that very much. Anyway, I found that little picture of us, and I sent it to him. I took a picture of it and sent it to him, and he happened to be in Redding this weekend visiting his old buddy Sean. There's so much history there. I actually knew Sean longer than my brother did. I met Sean years before my brother met Sean. A couple years. I was in junior high. Rock and slide. Thursday night. Redding's river. What was that? What was the park called? The water slide park. They had little water slides there. Anywhere they had, like, you go and dance and with the teen drama and all that until 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock or something, and then, you know, have mom or dad pick you up, and then anyway, so you find people to buy you alcohol. We found this guy to buy us booze, and it was the first time I'd ever done it, and I was 15, and I got a bottle of, ended up with a bottle of peach schnapps. And by the time, that took about 2.5 hours for it to get to us by the time, and it was Sean that bought it that got it. And it took about 2.5 hours to get to us, and God, I rowed for days. It was hot. Reading in the summer is hell on earth. Reading is a weird, crazy, energetic portal. I mean, Mount Shasta's right there. Mount Shasta is the earth first chakra. I broke my coccyx, my tailbone, literally. So I broke open my first chakra and the earth's first chakra. It's very interesting. It's a real. They still to this day in Lost Lanes where they do the sacrifices where there's the blood stained rocks and stuff like that. The women of church and local community there still go down and pray for the souls, whatever souls are lost there. And there's people that go up missing all the time in Reading because is a large population of people don't care. People don't care about them. There's a very large population. That population is growing everywhere. The population of people that don't care about other people. And I'm really tired of afraid. I mean, it's like, oh, it's so sweet. It's so sweet. I was listening to Raquel Spring today. I've listened to her on and on for the last several. There's a lot of people I listen to their perceptions, their how they feel about things. Very few of these people, if any, have ever, and I have invited them all to come visit to see what I'm about. They don't come visit. They don't like, comment, subscribe. And that's just fine. That just tells me who they are or who they aren't. Most of these people are all about, and I heard Cuts expressing his frustration about this today. Most of these people want everybody to support them, but how much time are they supporting other people in their dreams or visions, and their creativity and collaborating and stuff like that, where everybody wins. It's just the world is extremely imbalanced right now. So anyway, it's an end of a timeline, because after Sean's going on down the road, he's like a lot of people from California. He's just he's out of here. He's probably one of the greatest salesmen that I've known. The guy can sell. He can just, I don't know any funny quims about selling off the top of my head right now, but anyway, so life's changing and shifting, and relationships are beginning, and new chapters are. So he's beginning a new chapter in someplace out, in down in Texas. So go try that out. Which is weird, man, because I don't know. I'm surrounded by a lot of nature, though. But Texas, there's tech. I don't know. My time in Texas wasn't very pleasant because I was just there for tech school and basic training. It was pretty lame, my time. I still had some pretty wild adventures. I talk about them in other videos. I always thought about rules as recommendations. And I take those recommendations into consideration, and oftentimes I evaluate the rules and regulations, and I've deemed that I'm going to override them. So though not for once for safety. Well, no, that's not true. Well, that's back. Those are back in like my heavy drinking days. It might as well been my college days, like living in the dorms. It's no different. But where was I? Oh, so my time in Texas. Yeah, as far as I'm concerned, Texas is in the shape of a toilet for a reason. There's a lot of wonderful things to come out of Texas. I wouldn't have been here if it weren't for Texas. Well, no, I think Mom was born around here, but she was adopted out of an orphanage in El Paso. So Mom came from Texas. So it's a lot of good. I mean, it's just like anything. There's good and bad and all kinds of everything everywhere you look. Depends on how you look at it and where your heart sits. So anyway. No reason to go up to Redding no more. you know, and they were at a steakhouse. They were at Jack's Steakhouse. I did get to go to Jack's Steakhouse one time, and Jack's Steakhouse is the kind. I said that steak, the tenderness, the flavor, all of it, that collectively, because I'm a foodie, I'm a total food snob. I mean, I'll eat some plain basic crap. But there's a lot of times, I mean, I don't know, I still am, and my palate, my taste is just like, I mean, I I'm a food snob. So, and don't cover food with cellophane and put it over your pie and give it to me, because all I'm gonna taste is freaking pie flavored or cellophane flavored pie, stuff like that. I could, you know, the glass. If I'm drinking coffee and they use too much detergent, they should just use hot water more than detergent. Then I can taste that detergent. It's just not. It's just anyway. So that steak, I've been chasing that steak for like a freaking junkie chases the dragon, you know, since I had it 30 years ago. I mean, that's the kind of rest. And it's one of those old time. It's probably the oldest restaurant. I don't know how long. I think, yeah, it's got, well, Nello's has been around a long time, but it's like, as far as steakhouse, it's got to be like one of the oldest ones in Redden. Anyway, that's what I got a picture from them. That's where they were eating today. That was pretty cool. Because it was cool because, like, the waitress took a picture of it in front of the mirror so you can see the waitress. So you could, you know, it's kind of commemorative. And my brother's buddy is friends with the bartender. And it's one of those places where, like the bartender is the place has been around 85 years. And there's only been 4 bartenders in that time. So, I mean, you just think about, you know, I mean, that's the kind of place that, like, people leave Reading, you know, they come back and visit their families, and it's like, you got to go to Jack's, that kind of thing. I tried to get back to California. Well, that's not the path that we were supposed to go. Me and Mom, you know, ever since freaking I decided I wanted to live in Oregon, and that's how life was going to be, and this is how it's going to be, you know, and all that stuff. And, like, my ego just went. And then as soon as I got there, it got deflated, and it started getting deflated, and that's when this story really began. And that's why I started this video, because things just started getting real weird. And that's when life started shifting for a lot of people. And I started realizing that this imposed reality that they've been trying to give us, that's not how things are really going to be. And really based on people's psychology and how their own heart is, you know, because there's so many people that just care about money and stuff and chasing sensations. That matters more to people, more than 50.1% of the people on the population, because of the planet, of the earth. Because if we could get that to shift, the world would be different. If we could get people's desires to change from monetary and all that physical pervy stuff that people are really into pervy stuff. And man, when I look at the social, it's everywhere, man. The perverts are everywhere, and it's only going to get worse. We're going to only be revealed. People are only going to be revealing it because they can't hide it no more. And the way the Earth's energy are, man, it's making all these. They don't understand it's life force kundalini energy. You know, go ride a bike. You know, instead people are like, oh my God, I'm horny all the time, and then they got weird fantasies, and then they act them out, and then they don't got no discipline, and then we're back here again. Self-will run riot. This is the world we get. It's about all I got for now. Wait a second before I stop. I missed last night. Hi, Nathan. Hi, PETA. Dog, we are good. How are things in Australia? I wonder. Max Headroom, yeah. Welcome to the... Yeah. Yep. No, I was talking. I don't know. That's what some of us. That's what I'm like a historian, man. I have absorbed so much music, social, like, all this stuff. I've always been into it, and not only that is I've always been into the psychology of the people that have been into all this stuff. I mean, I had a bunch of buddies that were into Black Sabbath and all that stuff. I just wasn't into it, and their lives got very dark too. I just was not willing to do what a lot of people were willing to do in order to feel good in life. I just wouldn't. I always thought, like, that's not, there's something wrong with that. There's something wrong with that. But we're coming back into it. I don't know, community, people helping people. Yeah, I'm always checking on your stream cuts. I saw that one earlier today, and I was like, dude, this is my interpretation of your frustration based on the Cancer full moon that were just happening, is that you are around people that freaking make like six figures and shit like that. Like, you were around plastic people. Like, you were around like the people that basically, like my brother, the people in California that like run California. It's like they have nothing better to do but go down a fucking mountain on snow and do it repeatedly. And they can take days off during the week because they got so much PTO, and like people I went to high school with, they're like public defenders in Stockton, total shitholes, right? But because it's a total shithole, then the developers come in, they bus all the people to Redding and to other parts of California, but they don't ever really fix anything, and they live the best version of their lives, and they drink the best booze, and they stay in the best cabins, and they just, they buy their freaking big old Jeep Rubicon, but if Lord knows if they got a flat tire, they aren't changing their own shit. They're calling the freaking the auto service and stuff, just fake ass people. You're surrounded by fake ass people all day, every day, and just in that their vibrational frequency of not giving a shit about people, nobody but themselves, because it wears on you, man. It wears when you got a big heart and you care about the advancement of civilization, not it falling. Because people are more, their hearts are opening to it more. They're being shown the service before self frequency. They're tuning in, they're dialing in. It feels good, man. It is like, I don't know who was here the last couple of days, but I ran into that kid, man. He's been homeless. He's not even 16 years old yet, and he's homeless on the street. There is no agency for him. Right? Kid's just on the street. Don't know where he's sleeping. He wears boots that are too big. I'm going to see if I can find him and see if I can get him some boots. I'm going to take him down to Tractor Supply and get him some clothes. I can't. Even if it's just like a couple of freaking like, Under Armour shirts and stuff like that. There's too much that people can do to help people like that, And get him some shoes that fit him and stuff like that. There's always things that people do. People just don't want to part with their money. And then that's what I'm like, oh, okay. So you're more about money than freaking changing this earth. A lot of people are gonna have to part with freaking money. That's why I'm like trying to figure out how to make more money so I can part with my money, so I can teach people how freaking easy it is to freaking spend your money on other people, to make their life, to help them achieve their dreams as I'm achieving mine. And listening to Raquel today, she has a lot of these practitioners, astrologers, they got useful information. They're missing very important parts. For every so much that people are bringing in, something's got to be going out to other people, even if it's a little bit, you know. And I'm not talking about paying for freaking yokels freaking coffee. I'm talking about, you know, a generous deed for a freaking desperate human being that is just hanging on to just waiting to just, and you could be their last example that people are not completely shitty and don't completely suck on this planet. Because there's far more examples of people that do. Who do people think helps? Because there's kids all the time. Their parents, they're junkies, they're drunks. You know, they get knocked up. You know, they have these kids. You know, you just got to get them old enough so that the kid doesn't die and you don't go to jail. And then once they're old enough, pooh, you're on your own. You know, happens all the time. And then kids are falling through the cracks. It's only getting worse because there's only more and more kids that are coming into the country from the southern borders and whatnot. So I got all kinds of solutions. I wonder if the powers that be, you know, if I'm ever gonna be like heard and received in these areas. You know, and then it's just disheartening because you just find out that they don't care about people. They just care about getting paid for saying, we care about people. We care about you. Pay us. Direct deposit's fine. Keep buying us our big fancy cars. Oh, wait, now it's trendy to have EVs, so EVs for all the county employees. Let's get big trucks too. And it's absurd. It's absurd. And I've lived all over, and I've seen it's just different levels of greed and grossness and depravity, you know, because that's what the people they feel deprived. And so they got to take it out on the lower echelon. It's like a point system for them. It's trippy. It's weird. It's bizarre. Anyway. Yeah, you know, I'm starting to think everybody should just come to New Mexico, because once the freaking sun goes out and the poles flip, you know, because people are already freaking living off grid here. I mean, a lot of people. I think that out on the Mesa, I think there's like, I don't know, like 500-600, I think, people out there that are already, I think, I don't know. I think that it was somewhere around that, because they were trying to make off-grid living illegal here. They were trying to criminalize off, like you couldn't have holes in your drywall, like it was like you couldn't have junk cars, and that was going to create a lot of problems on the infrastructure of the local community, because who's going to do the work? Like escrow where I live, it's like 6 months, a year. It's like nobody is in any hurry to do anything, you know. Something catastrophic happens, that's a lot of people that are going to be wiped out in the first 3 days. So anyway, it'll be interesting. Yeah, cause I'm always down. Because I was like, he's really been having a hard time doing his streams, and then they come up as private, and then I was troubleshooting. I'm like, okay, how often do you restart your phone? I know it sounds stupid, but it really freaking matters. Like, I couldn't use AirDrop from my phone to my laptop, and then when I restarted my phone, I could. There's no rhyme or you just gotta try everything. And if you use another, because I know that some people use like Prism or something like that, so they can upload and stream in different places. I don't. I just use OBS and live stream with the code, the key there. And I always use the same key. I just changed the title. There's so many different things, but you're just having. I mean, I know Mercury's in retrograde, and you're just having I can see it, and I could tell that you're getting frustrated because it's just not working. Between the storms and then technology and the magnetics, and you guys are getting a lot of seismic activity there, and not only that, and just the people's energy. You're surrounded by, and I know it because that's my frustration of living around here is because they will shit on locals to accommodate freaking tourists because people will spend their money here, and that's not it. The tourists should be freaking more respectful. They should just be more, but everything revolves around the skiers. They make snow on the mountain so people will come here because it's like a freaking 2-hour drive from Albuquerque. It's like like you got to fly and then drive, but it's worth it. People come here Julia Roberts lived here for years. I know that she's building up in the Bay Area probably so she can go freaking suck ball sack and Bohemian Grove or whatever. But I think she still has her house here, but there's a reason why people come here. It's a very, I have no desire to go to Sedona. Sedona makes my third eye twitch, man. That'd be cool if people came here, though. I'd have my own conferences. That'd be cool. And then people could go off if they wanted to go. I can't stand that stuff, the hot air balloons and stuff like that. I think it's just, I don't know. It's just, there's of all the other things to do. You could go ride in a raft down the Rio Grande. That sounds more fun to me. Or go, fishing or hiking. Or there's places all over the place. There's beautiful places everywhere, And then I could have, codes. I could have discount codes in hotels. If they went up to the desk and, get 10-15% off if you say not so large Marge sent you. So I could reverse that whole bull crap with freaking Pee Wee Herman. That shit came out when I was in junior high school. It freaking, because as soon as people, and I was always kind of big, stocky, and so as soon as people figured out my name was Marge, that's it. It just was stupid, man. Human beings are so trite, man. Although I have been blessed to be able to find the pockets of the creative ones, I know I've been blessed to know a lot of people that are real creative, so. I hope more and more people step into that, finding out what their creativity is, what it is that gives them bliss, that they can, that they can do, and you just, doesn't matter how often you do it, you just don't feel like you could ever get sick of it. Anyway, I think I've rambled on long enough. Yep, that's about all I got for